Hello everyone, my name is Rory and welcome to Firebeard Outdoors. Today I'm actually indoors and I'm doing a bit of homebrewing. So I'm making a mead at the moment, something I've done one before, it was alright, but yeah, it's a learning process for me. But this time I'm trying a different approach and this should come out well if it goes right. For those that don't know, mead is a honey-based alcohol. It's usually between, ranges from 10 to 14%, and is made largely with honey. So today I'm using a wildflower honey. I just got this from local supermarket, Sainsbury's, and I've got 1.4 kilograms worth. Second, we'll be adding a handful of raisins. Raisins act as a nutrition for the yeast and also add some flavour and tannin to the mixture. Also for added tannin, I'm adding a cup of black tea. I'm just steeping this at the moment and letting it cool down before going in. I will also be adding half of an orange's peel in there to add citrus. Last time I did it, I added half the whole orange myself, and that was too much. It became too citrusy, so I'm adding a bit less now, just the peel. Hopefully that should create a nice flavour. And lastly, what I have here is the yeast. It's currently rehydrating after being in a package. So the yeast I'm using is Lalvin D47, which is a sweet wine mead. Sweet wine yeast, which is good for me. So that's the ingredients, and what will go into this 1 gallon or 5 litre demijohn. I also have an airlock that will go on the top. That will allow gases to escape, but prevent horrible stuff, bacteria or insects getting into it. Also have a hydrometer, which I will use to measure the specific gravity of the product when it's ready, and that will give me an idea as to what percentage it will turn out to be. So mead is a slow fermenting alcohol, so it will take about probably 4, 5, 6 months before it's drinkable. Right, so now I'm going to go into the actual making of the mead. So let's just cast this down here. So you've got the demijohn, funnel, everything, all this equipment has been sterilised using steriliser. Everything that comes into contact with this is sterilised, so it should not cause any harm. And the first thing that I'm going to put into the demijohn is a handful of raisins. Make sure they're all separate. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. Yeah, in they go. Typically I've spilt some. Stick a few more in. Right, so there's raisins. So as I said before, these will act as a nutrient for the yeast, and they will have flavour and a bit of tannin into the mixture. Next, go my honey. So I get the funnel. Now hopefully if this is good runny honey, it should pour straight in. Now this might take a while, so what I'm going to do is I'll skip forward till all the honey's in there. For anyone interested in brewing mead, there's a couple of good books that I've been reading just to get an idea as to what sort of things to do. So the first one is Making Mead. This is a very basic book. It's a very much a starter's guide. It tells you about all the different types of meads. Basically any fruit meads are called melomels, and any sort of spiced herbed meads are called metheglin. And it tells you about how to go about making those. Another one is make me like a Viking. This is a more traditional way of using traditional techniques to make honey-based alcohol. So yeah, those are two books that I recommend. So this is nearly done. It's taken forever because honey is very sticky and viscous. It takes a long time to get through the funnels, but speeding up by adding a bit of water and just stirring it. Right, so I'm just going to rinse out the last of the honey from these cups, these jars even. I want to get as much of it in as possible. I can afford to sacrifice some. I've got roughly £3 worth, or 1.4 kilos of honey in there. So, as you can now see, there's a nice load of honey in there and raisins. Now I'm going to add the tea, which is probably going to go wrong. Right, therein goes the tea, and now I'm going to get the peel off this orange, so I'm just going to chop it in half. I'll go in half again, and just so there. Doesn't really matter if it rips or breaks, but that's that out of the funnel. I need to get this back out again afterwards, so I'm going to rip it up smaller, put it in through here. Take out this. I'm going to take out the stalk, or you know where it meets that. Right, that's that all in there. Now I'm going to top it all up with water, just up to about the shoulder of the glass. So you need some clear headspace to allow for gases. Stick that back on. Okay, that should probably be enough. And what I'm going to do now is add the yeast into the mix. So yeah, funnel back on. And in that goes. So that's about a teaspoon of yeast that I've just rehydrated for the last sort of 20 minutes. It's starting to settle around. What I need to do now is shake it all up massively to get oxygen into it and get the yeast activated. So I've put a cork stopper on top, and now I'm just going to get it secure, make sure it's secure, and begin slushing it around. Turn it top over. You want to try and get the thick honey at the bottom mixed into the water above. Now do this for probably about a minute or so, or just until keep changing sides. So I'm just seeing if there's stuff still stuck at the bottom. There's still a bit. Right. So that is all shaken up now. Might add a little bit more water, just not much, just that's about right, just to the sort of shoulder of the glass. Now the last bit, I'll be adding a airlock to the top. So I'm just going to put water into this. So here now is the finished product. It's all ready to be put away and stored, ready for fermentation. For the next couple of days I'll be shaking it up periodically just to aerate it, get oxygen to the yeast, and then after that I'll leave it just to do its work. So what I'm going to do is it needs to be kept at sort of room temperature in sort of dark conditions. So I'm literally just going to stick this in the cardboard box that Demijohn came in, as that creates the darkness. And I'm just going to stick it in the utility room in my house. It's not too cold, not too warm, just a good ambient temperature. Right, so there you go. That's the first stage of making mead. I'll do another video in a couple of months to show the next stage, when it will be ready to be racked into a secondary fermentation vessel. So it'll go into a clean demijohn, and then I will add a new ingredient to it, probably like nettles or gorse or something that will add a different flavour to it. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, look out for more. Farewell.